Welcome, Endless Possibilities team and company. We are here with Jen Borsch, and Jen just hit premiere. Yay! Congratulations. And she is a rock star recruiter, so we have her on the call tonight to train us on how she does her recruiting and what she does, what she says. So, Jen, it's on you, sister.
Hey everyone. I'm crazy nervous, but thanks for having me. So when Angela wanted me to do this about recruiting, at first I was like, yes, I'll do it. And then I thought, hell no, because I'm terrified. So bear with me. So like Angela said, my name is Jennifer Borsch, and I am a new premier. I've been with Perfectly Posh now for April 11th will be my 2-year Posh anniversary, I guess. I started out as a kidnapper, and I sat on my kit for 5 months, and I had 0 PV. So, and then my premier, who my sponsor is Jessie Condor, she convinced me to go to Las Vegas for Uncon. And I said, well, of course I'll go to Vegas and party. So I went to Vegas. And on the very first night I was there, I met Angela Gunter and several other amazing, Perfectly Posh, Dream Pink, Endless Possibility people. And I fell in love and just knew that this is what I was supposed to be doing. And I set a goal, and I said, before we leave, by the end of the month, I'm going to hit pink, and then I'm going to hit pink +1, then pink +2, and all that jazz. And I did it all. And I never thought that I would have a team of 102 people. I thought if I could make enough money to get a pedicure that I would be good, and that was all I wanted. So with that, I don't have a tried and true, if you do this, you'll recruit people method. My biggest piece of advice would be to listen to your customers, listen to who you're talking with about the opportunity, because that's the key. Somebody who, somebody who is struggling to put groceries on the table is not going to care that I went to St. Thomas for 7-8 days. They're trying to feed their family. So by me saying, oh, I went on this amazing trip, la, 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 that's probably going to turn them off, because they wouldn't want to leave their husband and kids and whatnot. But, if I listen to that person and I pick up their cues to what they need, then I can talk about how Posh can help them with their needs. But if I'm talking to somebody and they are struggling to put groceries on the table, and I talk about, what would you do with an extra $200 a month? How would that help your family? That will probably get her attention. So, but then there's people like me who just want to have fun, and you can talk to me about trips all day long, and I'm in, and that's what I want to do. I want to travel, and I want to meet people and make friends. So that's probably my first piece of advice, would be really listen to who you're talking to and pay attention to what you're talking about with them, because your story might not be what their story, it might not help them. So listening is key. Another thing that I do is I make these really cool recruiting packs that, can you see those? I can't. Okay, there we go. Is that better? So I make these little recruiting packs, and I take them with me everywhere I go, and especially at events. And I'm going to show you every single thing that goes in these recruiting packs. They're very, very easy to make. And I started doing this, and in the last 30 days when I started doing this, I landed 11 new team members. And I think it's as a result of these recruiting packs. So first thing I do is I bought these 4.5 by 11 clear self-sealing bags from, my girlfriend's house.com. And they're just really inexpensive. I paid just a few dollars, and I got 100 of them. Then I also have, from the portal, I bought the opportunity flyers, the little trifolds. And I also have the perks flyer too. And of course, my name is on everything. So then I take the flyers and I put one on one side, one on the other. So it looks just like this. And I have the Pampering Pack cards from the portal. I used my perks and had my Posh story written on the back. It was a little more expensive, but it was worth it. And of course, if you use perks, then it's free, right? So definitely worth it. Then I have these really cute cards, these postcards made. Yeah, can you see that? How's that? They say, "You're so posh, your personal invitation to join my team." I made these on Vistaprint. They were ridiculously cheap. They're just a postcard. I even used their template. I didn't invent this. This was something easy. It's blank on the back because you write a personal note on the back. So if you're talking to somebody over the phone, you call your friend Patty Posh and you're like, "Oh my gosh, I'm going to send you some samples," and you write a little note, "Dear Patty Posh, I love your energy. I love how, thank you so much for taking time to try my samples. I think you would make an amazing consultant. I just love your energy and your bubbly attitude, and love, Jen." Very simple, but you want to flatter them and you want to put a personal note because that stands out to them. So then I take everything and I slide it all into the little envelope. And then I also take 3 samples. You don't want to overdo it. And so I always do a BFF, a night and day, and then I try to do a mask just because I feel like that's the ultimate pampering pack. Everything needs to be labeled. I tell my team that is the number 1 rule. Nothing leaves your hand and goes to somebody without your name being on it, because if this pack gets lost and somebody finds these samples and falls in love with my face wash, then, they'll call me. So I tuck everything in, of course, with, business cards. I put my business cards in, and then I just peel off the little adhesive label thing, and voila, it's ready to go. And so I keep bags of these with me at events, and I reach out and I give them to people if I have meaningful conversations with them, and I keep them here at the house too. And then if it's somebody I know, I write a quick note on the back of this card and then stick it into the pack, seal it, and then put it in the mail to them with some extra samples. Another thing that I've done is, where's my book? Sorry, my helper. So I did this recruiting boot camp with Angela and Desi, and it was really beneficial for me. And part of what we did was we read this book called GoPro by Eric Worre, and I cannot tell you how life-changing it was for me. It completely changed up my recruiting methods. It just jazzed me, and it gave me that boost, and it's really inexpensive too. I think I paid like $6 or $7. So, that's pretty much what I do. I mean, I don't really know. Angela, does anybody have any questions? I'm happy to allow. Of course, I just didn't want to keep rambling.
No, you're good. You did awesome. And, I find myself to be a very strong recruiter, and I always, recruit 1 to, 6 people a month, and I don't use those packets. And I have to tell you that I'm going to make those packets now. They're simple, they're small, so they can fit in any size Kate Spade purse. And I mean, it doesn't take a lot to put in your bag to take to events. I'm so against telling my story because I don't care about my story. I want to hear what their story is. but I think you may have changed my mind on that a little bit. So I totally loved your card. I thought it was great. You're at an event and you're standing there, and how do you get somebody to come to your table?
I don't let anybody leave. I don't let anybody walk by without trying something. So I don't try to like accost people, but I'm just not afraid to be told no. You really just have to be fearless, because honestly, what is the worst thing they're going to say? No. Okay. So, if somebody's walking by, if I even catch a corner of their eye, I'm going to say something to them, whether it be, how are you today? And as soon as they answer me, well, I'm over there. And, I got a hand cream in my hand, a big fat hand cream, or a honey is usually what I lead with, because that tends to be my best seller personally. So, I just say, I try not to say, have you heard of Perfectly Posh? Because I feel like I don't want them to have a yes or no answer and give me a no and walk away. So I say something like, when was the last time you pampered yourself? Or what my biggest pitch is, what do you use to wash your face? And then I launch into telling them about BFF, because that's my very favorite product. So I try to avoid yes or no answers from them. So I ask very open-ended questions. And then once I start talking to them, if they're enjoying what they're trying, I really try to read them and look at their situation and ask them questions like, well, what do you do? And, if somebody says, oh, I'm a teacher. Oh my gosh, you have the most amazing network right there. Do you know you could take a bunch of samples and put them in a basket and put them in your break room? Holy cow, you have like a captive audience for 8 hours a day. That must be amazing. And then I go into it from there. Same thing if they say they're a nurse. Oh, I stay home with my kids all day. Really? Well, that's really awesome. What I love about my business is that I can stay home with my kids too. And it gives me that luxury. And, it's nice to be able to help, my family pay a few of the bills. So I kind of lead with that information.
So when you go to an event, do you set a goal of, how many people you're going to be adding to your team? Or do you just go, hey, I'm going to go set up at this event and I'm going to be done?
No, my goal is a minimum of 2 for every event. I would like it to be 2 per day, but
right?
Doesn't always. Every single event, I focus on adding 2 new team members to my. Other thing I forgot to say, Sarah Lucas gave me this really great idea. She prints every month. She prints the kit flyers, and she folds hers and puts hers in her recruiting packs too. So she puts a picture of what the kits are as well. So that's something you can do as well, if you have the printer and whatnot. I haven't done that yet because ink's expensive. So.
Do you feel that, how many people do you right now have on your front line?
Oh, my direct front line is, I don't know. I don't know. I knew back in September when I did Leadership Academy, but my team is, I want to say it's 75% my direct front line, 77% I came up with.
Okay, yeah. So you've got at least 30 front line.
Oh, more than that, yeah.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay. So to hit Premier, you knew that you needed a strong front line, and it needed to be at least how many?
We had to, I feel all on the spot. I have a very, very wide front line because I recruit a lot. And so I've had to work extensively with my team to teach them how to recruit, so that we could build deeper in order to continue to grow. So I sat at Pink Plus 3 for a very long time. Actually, a year to the day that I promoted to Pink Plus 3, I promoted to Premier.
Nice.
So, yeah.
Do you feel that that recruiting is one of the easiest things that you do, but one of the hardest things that you train your team on, and why?
Absolutely, 100%. Because you can't say, if I could say, give somebody this BFF and they'll join your team, we'd all be throwing BFFs around, right? So you know, it's not, you know, what I might say to somebody isn't always going to work for the other person. So that's why I emphasize on listening and picking up on those cues from the person you're talking to, because you know, some people don't care about certain things. You know, there are people that in this Italy trip that are not going to go because they would never leave their husbands. That's Italy. So, you know, if I'm trying to convince somebody to join my team and, you know, they could give 2 flips about traveling, then I'm wasting my breath. Have to appeal to what works for the person you're talking to, and sometimes you have to really dig deep to find that information. So yeah,
But
so
would you say that there's really only about 3 to 5 different categories that people fall into? So if you were to find, maybe on the event we could come up with those 3 to 5 people, and not really a script, but something that goes along with them, so that maybe we can have our team see that, you know, find what, you know, I signed up because it was new. I signed up because I needed the money. I signed up because it was a great product. So I signed up for like all of the reasons. And there's people out there that only sign up for like 1 or 2, but then go along and now they're in for everything. So maybe we can change that in the event and maybe give some scripts or something. Because and I was telling Kelly Rossman, you know, it's a muscle that you're flexing and you're building. And you know, for some of us, like for me, it's very easy for me to ask questions of people because that's how I was raised. That's how my brain is programmed, is because I want to get to know you. And I do this with people that I already know, not even just people at an event, you know, just like people at the grocery store, people like the guy that hired my son at the restaurant. I wanted to know his story. I wanted to know why he was in Enterprise, Alabama. I wanted to know where he got his restaurant business from. I wanted to know, you know, again, why the heck are you in Enterprise, Alabama? You know, so we got to talking, and it was just a progression of questions that you ask somebody, and you have to feel comfortable, and you have to feel like you have to know in your heart that you're asking because you're truly interested in that person. And yes, your end result is that you want them on your team, but you are truly interested in what they have to say, and you have to listen and not mentally vomit all over them, because we all have a story and we all want to share our story. But you know what? Who gives about our story? It's all about those people on the other side. You know, yes, if you're sending somebody something in the mail, tell them your story. But if you're standing in front of them, don't you dare say anything about
you.
You know, we were at Kate Spade's store yesterday, and I had on my Lucy bag. Very first person to ask me what was in my Lucy bag, and I was like, oh, well, let me tell you. And I proceeded to tell her, and she's like, oh, well, you know, I do this fundraiser, and I do a spa night. And I was like, oh, okay. Most people would have stopped at, oh, okay. But I was like, a spa night? What's it for? What do you do? How do you do it? Blah, la, 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 la. And we kept finding out more and more cool information about this chick. And I was like, oh my God, have like every sample I have on me. And then Patty was with me, and Patty lives there. And I was like, Patty, where's your information? And she pulled out a catalog and gave it to her. Hopefully Patty follows up. So there's another key. You must follow up with these people. I have stacks of contacts, and I will follow up with them. I don't care if if I'm like hurting for a recruit, I will follow up with them. I will send them a text message. I will send them an email every month. You have to get in on that and do that follow-up until they tell you no. Christina, I'm in a recruiting rut. The last 5 people I talked to about joining spent a lot of time with. They're nodding and yesing and me all excited, making me think I was saying all the right things. Followed up with them, invited them to the last event, and then nothing. Should I try a mailer to them? What do you say?
Did you give them samples? You know, obviously you don't want to stalk people and have them hiding from you or avoiding you. But depending on when the last time you spoke to them might be, when was that?
Christina, you can take yourself off of mute. We've only got 5 minutes left, but we should be able to get these in. If not, we can answer them in the
Absolutely.
I
can't hear you.
Okay.
There you go.
You hear me now?
Yes, darling.
Oh, okay. I think the last was about a couple of weeks ago, right after the recruiting event we had in the group page. And when they answered the questions during that event, they did that little survey at the end that said, I would join now, but and such and such. And I saw that and I was like, well, okay, you didn't really say that to me when I was trying with you, but
what was their reason? What was their reason?
Oh, they would say they had other businesses already, or they didn't have enough money right now. The usual suspects.
Right. Well,
and they were such all-stars when I was talking to them, and they were all excited. And I said, wow, you have DS experience already. This would be a great revenue stream to just float right in there.
So they were with another company or have experience with another company? Okay, then you know what? Then you can come at them in a more direct way. Exactly. I would approach your friend, and be like, hey, we talked about this and you were really, really excited. And now you backed off and, you seem a little cooler to the idea. So I just want to know where you're at, what you're thinking. Be straight with me. We're both in this business together. We know how it is. Just kind of really keep it on that kind of level. And then, just businesswoman to businesswoman, I don't want to harass you or bother you for something that you don't want to do. I mean, really that's how you can present it to her is I'm just going to bring this up to you one more time because I don't want to continually harass you about this, but and then I would be very honest and ask her.
Exactly.
Thanks.
Kim says there's another reason people sign up that no one has mentioned. I signed up because my husband is out of town on work a lot, and every other weekend my kids have visitation with my ex. Well, excuse me, with my parents. He doesn't keep them. Anyways, it's to fill empty, lonely time. Yes, that's exactly why I started 13 years ago was my husband started to deploy, and it was beginning of the war, and I was out at the bars, and I was like, wait a minute, I can't do this. I'm married. And so you're right. I mean, everybody has a reason why they join, and that is a huge a huge opportunity. If you do know people that have kids gone every other weekend, reach out to them. Hey, this would be fun for you. You could pamper yourself on the weekend, and you can, sell it on the weekend that your kids aren't there. It'll fit right in. So yeah. All right. So there's 2 minutes left. Does anybody have any other questions? You can unmute *6 if you're on the phone, or just unmute your little microphone.
Another thing, real quick, watch your balls. Leah Dalton said that, and she was very correct about that. It goes into what Angela was saying. You don't want to throw we love Pasha. We think it's amazing, and we want to share it, but you cannot just throw it all out there to somebody. So you just give them a little bit and then listen to their response and then go from there.
Definitely. All right. Well, that's it for the night. I want to thank you. Thank you so much, Jen. You did an amazing job. And we had a record number of people on the call. So what I'm going to attribute that to is, well, of course, Jen, but because we only gave you guys an hour notice, so nobody forgot about it. So we might be on to something here. So from now on, our events aren't going to be listed until maybe an hour or two before the event. So be on the lookout for them. I want to do calls Mondays, Tuesdays. But, you know, Tuesday trainings are out there. Recruit stuff is out there. We do have vendor events coming up in the next couple of weeks, so be on the lookout for that. There was something I wanted to do, but now I can't remember. So less than a minute, and I will.
Add me on Facebook.
Yes, add Jen on Facebook, and bye.
Thanks, ladies. Great job, Jennifer.
Thank you.